Greetings, YouTube. Robert Eckes of Oregon was given a ticket for giving the finger to the police. He is now suing them so that he may express his right and privilege to finger the police. It's a free speech issue. Now, just in case any of my international viewers don't know what this means, that is what it means. I apologize, I don't normally use foul language or gestures. And it's definitely considered an insult here in the United States. Now, I should point out that the police have a really hard job. But being a cop sometimes gives them a certain ego. They are, after all, arresting machines. That's their job. They tend to look at all situations as, will I be arresting this man or woman today? Because they tend to look at things like that, it skews their view of how things should be judged. They also can suffer from, an attitude problem. They'll often get into a civilian's face because they feel that that person has committed the unforgivable sin of contempt of cop. And by that I mean that the person has not shown due respect to the law enforcement officer that the law enforcement officer thinks that they should be shown. But you see, you put your pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. When you take that uniform off, you're a civilian, like it or not. You were a civilian before you became a cop, you'll be a civilian after you cease to be a cop. You obey the same laws as we do, and you uphold the same rights as we all do. Maybe more so because you are in the law enforcement business. So, if a cop gets in your face about actual legal issues, okay. But if a cop gets in your face because they don't like your attitude, because you've annoyed them, that's a much bigger issue. Now, it's not necessarily smart to piss off a cop. So I question this man's wisdom in doing so. I've known people in the past who pissed off cops just because they like to piss off cops. Guess what? They got arrested. But they got arrested for stupid reasons. Sometimes they got arrested because they got stupid and then they got physical with the cop. Then it becomes a real charge. But if it's just a gesture or them not happy with what you say, there isn't a whole lot they can do about it. They shouldn't be giving you tickets because you annoy them. There is no constitutional right to not be annoyed, whether you're a cop or a civilian. So I have a problem when cops step over that line, when they stop being public servants and they become the oppressor. And unfortunately, a lot of times cops become that over time. As they get in the job, as they do it for a few years, they start to think of themselves as being something better than a non-cop. And that's a bad thing. Now, I'm sure that this man will in fact win because I know for a fact that these types of cases have gone in the favor of the person telling the cops to piss off or swearing at them or making a rude gesture. Because it is in fact First Amendment free speech. It is freedom of expression in case of the gesture. And sometimes there is no other way to express yourself than that means. I make a concerted effort not to swear, but there are times that I do swear, and I'm going to in a minute, so I apologize if I offend anyone. But a long time ago, back in the 60s during the Vietnam era, a man was at a public building, a courthouse. He was wearing a shirt. The shirt said, "Fuck the draft." He was arrested. Eventually, that case went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And the justices came to the conclusion that that was free speech. Because that particular turn of phrase was the only way that man could correctly sum up how he felt about the draft. There was no stronger word in the English language he could use, and that's how he felt about the draft. Very strongly indeed. And this particular person who was wearing that shirt was a Vietnam vet. So he had earned every right in the world to have whatever opinion about the draft he felt like, even though so does every other American. But most Americans didn't have to live through it, didn't have to go to that hellhole and come out alive. So when a cop gets annoyed at you for flipping their finger at him, they've stepped over the line. They may not see it that way. They may give you a ticket. They may push your buttons until you react, and then you can get nabbed for resisting arrest or disturbing the peace. But they've still stepped over that line. And I hope that this court case shows those cops that the American people have rights, whether they like it or not.